Coming to you from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Quinn Spinn. Hey now, and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of the Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, the Quinn, back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. You just heard Revel 9's All I've Become. That has been our opening theme song here at the Quinn Spinn since the great year of 2014, and it will be until the very end of days. But I say this is the Quinn Spinn, but it's actually a mashup episode with our good friends at Paradox Jukebox. Caitie Thompson, of course, the host of Paradox Jukebox, and I got on the Zoom machine a few weeks ago to talk about all things UMC and what's happening, specifically our creative agency at UMC featuring our UMC verified creators. So we talk a little more about that. You can also listen to this episode over on all the Paradox Jukebox feeds, but we're giving it to you right now as a bonus here at the Quinn Spinn. So that's what we do as partners. We work together, we create content, and we give you everything you need to know about what's happening in the ecosystem. So that's what we're doing. I want to thank Caitie, of course, for having me on. It was fantastic. Always a pleasure to work with Caitie, and of course, everybody over there at Music on the Move. So I'm going to get right to it, or I'll let us get right to it, and I'll be back to wrap it up.
What's up, friends? It is Paradox Jukebox with your host, Caitie, and I have the one, the only Mr. Gerard Longo from Underground Music Collective and the Quinn Spinn. How are you doing, bud?
Doing well, keeping it moving every single day. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but things are good.
Have you increased your caffeine intake? Because I feel like that needs to be a necessity for you.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I should probably be watching it a little more closely, to be honest. You know what they say, don't go over 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. There are days where I push those limits for sure, but you know, as long as you don't go over that, apparently you're good. So, but yeah, gotta always stay on my toes and make sure I'm awake, you know, as much as possible.
Well, as much as you grind, I would imagine that like your car is full of coffee cups and stuff, because I mean. You're in year 10 of the Quinn Spinn right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about that. So how is year 10 treating you so far?
Well, first of all, you're right. My car's a mess. Like if you look at the floor of the passenger side, it is like it's a trash heap. But that's just the way things go. But year 10 of the Quinn Spinn's going really well. It's interesting because like over the past 10 years, the show has gone through so many different iterations, and I landed on our current format, or what it's evolved into anyway at this point, like in 2019 when I moved to Nashville. And the level and the quality of conversations, the level and quality of guests right now is off the charts. I mean, we've had so many amazing conversations, not just about the music industry, not just about life as a creative, but like how life informs that, how our personal lives and the way we show up inform that. And it's really exciting for me because it's just been this opportunity for people to open up, but it's been an opportunity for me to learn and take things away from their stories that I can apply to my journey, And so a lot of that started making its way into the show. When I don't have a guest, I do a solo mission where it's like, hey, here's something that's resonating with me right now. We'll see if it resonates with you, kind of thing. Like, here's what I'm learning along the journey, and imparting that to help the people in our audience and in the greater Underground Music Collective community. And then, of course, we hop on Zoom. Actually, as of recording right now, I've got a Zoom call later tonight with the OG fam. We're going to do one of those episodes here that has already come out at this point, when this is airing. But, it's interesting to see how the show has evolved into what it has, but also like all of the components that have always been a part of it, along the journey have now come full circle back into the fold, and it might be an OG fam episode where we do stupid news and it's the more slapstick end of what we do. It might be a thoughtful conversation with somebody. It might just be me sitting in front of my laptop, for 10 minutes talking about whatever, but that's the thing with the Quinn Spinn is it can be all of those things, and that's there are no limits to, what you can create as an art form. And I look at the show as, my art form. Musicians have music, I have that. So it's like, okay, what do I want the show to be? It's like an artist deciding, do you want to make a rock record or a country record or a folk record? It's like, do I want to do a solo episode? Like, when would this be timely? Like, who do I want to have on? And like, what can we talk about? Like, what's the lesson, what's the takeaway we want the audience to have from this episode too? That's a consideration, as we gear the conversation when we do have a guest. So yeah, there's so much going on in that world alone. I feel like that in itself with the Quinn Spinn is an intricate web again, and that's not even getting into everything else going on with UMC, but that's just one part of it. And it's an exciting time for the show. We've got our 10th anniversary celebrations that we're going to be doing later this year as we approach the actual 10th anniversary, which August 17th is 10 years since the show was conceived, and September 8th is 10 years since episode 1. And we've got a special plan in town on September 8th that we'll be announcing soon. But yeah, we've got a lot more to come. And then it's about going into year 11 and seeing what that is. And all getting all the way to 15, 20, 25, as long as I'm kicking, I plan to do the show. So I'm excited for what the future holds, and I'm really proud of where we've been.
That's amazing. And I love that Quinn Spinn has really just kind of looked like different things over the course of, the time that you've been doing the show. But now you're growing the UMC umbrella so very much. I mean, you're becoming your own ecosystem. And I would really love for you to talk about, the new things that are happening at UMC as well.
I mean, it's so far it's been such a transformative year for the platform, and we've definitely raised our profile in the media. Music Row has featured us a couple times in relation to the virtual panels we've started this year, and those are opportunities. Our friend Aaron McClendon, of course, here at Music on the Move, was on our Women's History Month panel. And those are opportunities for different segments of the music industry, whether it's genre, whether it's a segment of the population, they have a chance to come on, share their experiences. They're moderated professionally. And it's an opportunity for people around the world to be educated. We had somebody tuned in March for Women's History Month, all the way from Ghana, who was a fan of one of the panelists and stayed up. It was like 1 a.m. there, and he stayed up just to watch the panel.
All
You know,
right.
we so we look to continue that. We just had one here in April for Jazz Appreciation Month, and we're just continuing to plan that kind of programming. And the goal is every month to have a panel. Whether it's virtual, eventually doing them in person. If anyone wants to sponsor that out there, by the way, I am wide open. I'm all ears. And that's just one way we're educating people. Another way is our Wednesday Wisdom Series, which we have different folks from around the industry who contribute a monthly article. They trade weeks. So, one goes the first week, second week, third week, fourth week. If there's a fifth Wednesday, we find a special guest to bring in and contribute. And yeah, it's just sharing, again, their insights, their experiences in the industry to help our audience navigate the industry. So those are a couple big things that we started this year. And there's one more big thing coming very soon, which we're dropping the bomb here on this episode today. We are expanding our creative services. As of this Monday, May 1st, we are going to have a team of UMC verified creators who can help you here in Nashville and perhaps elsewhere with whatever you need, whether it's photography, videography, web design, graphic design. We're going to be adding more disciplines as we go. And the idea is to provide professional services that are vetted and vouched for by UMC to our community of musicians and creators. And as an added bonus, if you create with us through the agency, then everything that we create then gets shared out on our UMC channels. So we're kind of an extension of your marketing, as it were. It's really exciting. It's a long time coming. It was one of those ideas I had back in January. I was just like, wow, like my bandwidth personally is running low, and I need to find a way to increase business, and increase what we're able to do, but knowing that I can't do it all myself. And so it was one of those ideas. It was like 11:30 midnight, and it just clicked. And I got out of bed and I ripped the covers off, and I'm up till 3 a.m, like mapping out what this is going to look like. What do we need? How do we identify these people? And over the next couple months, just running it by folks and just getting their input, like, hey, this is a great idea, maybe tweak this, maybe lose that,
Sure.
and I took a couple months to really make sure I had a system in mind and a system down before I even started approaching people to work with us. And so then, we put a call out. We got a lot of amazing responses from folks. I mean, we had so many responses, I didn't even get to look at all of them really. And had conversations with several folks who are really excited about not only creating great work for our community here, but also who are doing it for the right reasons and have a service mindset. And that's the thing, is we want to serve, we want to create a win-win for everybody. We want to give the artists, the client, as it were, what they need, while also giving a platform to these talented creatives in our community. And it all helps everybody grow. It helps them grow, it helps the client grow, it helps UMC grow. So it's truly something that we're excited about. It's a win-win. And Monday, May 1st, you're going to be able to go through, look at the portfolios of everybody we have on our team so far. And if you want to work with them, all you got to do is fill out the form and we'll get it their way, and we're going to make some magic happen. So UMC verified creators coming your way this Monday, May 1st, in addition to all the other things we've talked about so far.
Congratulations, man. That is really amazing, and what a service that you're providing, for musicians in Nashville that need creators who are able to come out and take their photos and take video of, live performances. And I mean, can you list maybe some of the services that, some of your verified creators are going to be able to provide?
Yeah, so we've got a couple photographers on the crew. We've got a couple videographers, video production folks, also folks who can help with web design, graphic design. We have a social media person as well. So if you're looking for somebody to handle your social media, we have that in house. And also, I should mention too that I'm part of this on the coaching end, because we, on my birthday back in March, launched UMC Coaching, which I'm taking 10 years of experience, hard earned, and really drilling it down into a coaching program that's going to help you manage your time. It's going to help you set meaningful goals and take action and be accountable to those goals. So that's all part of this too. And folks who come in, through the coaching program or any other way, you now have access to all these other resources and services. You have access to the whole publication end of Underground Music Collective, which we haven't even talked about to this point on the episode, but it's what brought us to the dance, is the reviews, the features, UMC 20 playlist, all that stuff. Like, you have access to this entire ecosystem, to all these industry pros who are coming in, providing their insight. And what we're doing is we're building a stronger ecosystem. We're building a stronger community. And, whether you come in on the service end, whether, we review your music, put it on a playlist, interview you on the Quinn Spinn, like, you now are in the mix here, for all of these things. And you have the opportunity to get involved to the level which you want. And so it's, for me, I mean, it's mind blowing to see, this idea that literally started with a podcast in my childhood bedroom take this kind of shape. And now it's like, it's bigger than me, like, there's a team, there's a culture being built around this. And like, sometimes it's one of those like pinch me kind of things, like, wow, like, we've come a long way. And it's like how, it's almost like the 10 years went by in a blink of an eye. It's like, how do we get here? But also, like, it's been 10 years, and there are definitely some days where you feel every single minute and day of those 10 years,
Absolutely.
in your soul. So it's like, it's an interesting paradox, pun intended, where it feels like no time has passed, but you definitely feel a sense of, weatheredness and a veteran sensibility to this whole ecosystem. So, but yeah, there's so much happening. I mean, it's really exciting, and we're working on more things that I can't quite disclose yet, but we're about to blow this thing up.
I am incredibly excited for you. And, for those of you who haven't actually, found Gerard on his UMC platform yet, I'm going to make sure that all of his links are in the show notes for you. One thing I want to touch on before we wrap it up here for quick hits. You post a lot of really like motivational things on your Instagram. And I just personally want to say thank you, because you know how the workday is when like sometimes you're just like scrolling through trying to figure out like what kind of content, you need to be thinking about. And you tag me a lot in some of these motivational posts, and sometimes it catches me at the perfect moment in my day where I'm like, I need to stop and think about this. And so I really hope that you keep up with those, because like at least for me, like it's helping my mindset throughout the day. And so I just want to encourage everybody here that's listening, please go and follow Gerard on the UMC platform, but also Quinn Spinn, and just follow his profile as well, because he is a 10-year veteran plus in this business, and he has so much information to give all of you. So perk your ears up and listen, because UMC is going to literally start taking Nashville by storm, and I'm just ready to see all of this success come to you, man. You are more than deserving of it. You give so much to the artists in the community, and so, on behalf of all of us, like, thank you so much for the work that you do.
I appreciate that, and it's good to hear about, the stuff that I post more on the personal end, because that's always something I've kind of had a battle with, in a
Really?
way. Yeah, because, well, you have people like you who appreciate it, then you have people who are like pretty much like, yo, shut up, like stop sharing all that. Like I've literally had people tell me like people aren't going to take you seriously as an entrepreneur if you're vulnerable. And I kind of like, you know, there have been phases where that's gotten to me. There have been phases where it's like, oh, maybe I should just like, but I'm at a point in my life now, now in my mid heading toward my late 30s, where I just like over the past year, I've really come to a point where I just don't care what anyone thinks anymore. And it's like, you know what? The audience is the audience, and it's going to resonate with them.
Right.
And that's one thing that I think is important for artists to realize, because like so much so many people in this industry will tell you it has to be a certain way. You have to be this, it has to be that, or it's not going to work. What's going to work, what's truly going to work for you long term is putting out who you authentically are and connecting with the people who appreciate who you authentically are. If you're trying to chase a style, if you're trying to chase a trend, if you're trying to just play it safe to appease somebody else and maybe not, go too far into being vulnerable, then eventually you're going to hit a wall one way or another, and that's going to burn you out, because there'll always be something inside of you that's unexpressed. And so I've really, as a male entrepreneur and as somebody, in a culture where it's hustle, 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 crush it all the time, you know, like I've really had to develop my relationship with like sharing the process, and not just the parts that look good, but also like, hey, this is kind of a weird season. I'm going through it, and we're going to come out better for this. There have definitely over the past few years been seasons like that, and but I think we have a responsibility to share our stories with each other, and to share our experiences, share what we've learned, because how are we going to learn and how are we going to move forward in society and life, even within our own communities, if we're not learning and using the lessons to grow? And so that's one thing that I think made me feel really called to coaching too at this point in the journey is I've been through a lot of those experiences. I mean, I was kind of, as you go look at the past 10 years, like I've been through just about every ringer you can go through. Before any of this was a twinkle in my eye, I had the major health issue, and hopefully got that out of the way, knock on wood. I've lost a parent. I've been through a rough breakup. I've battled various bouts of financial instability. I've relocated twice, and there have been other distractions and things that have come up, that could have thrown this all off. And somehow I'm still here. I'm still here and it's still here. So it's like, let's take all of that and use it to help others. So, I mean, everybody has to learn their own lessons to a degree, but if I can save them that time and help show them what I've learned, so they're better informed on their journeys, then that's the goal. And whether that's through what we're doing on a music industry level at UMC, or just what I'm doing as an entrepreneur, reaching other entrepreneurs or aspiring ones, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to hit this from multiple sides and just make these conversations more normal and make them something that drives the industry, drives creativity forward.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that everybody, artist, creator of any kind, they go through a season where, they're being told from the industry don't be authentic because it has to fit this formula, right? Well,
Mhm.
if you're the type of person that doesn't fit the formula, it's not authentic. And then therefore the people around you are going to see that, you're pursuing, a trend, you're pursuing a fad. I just really appreciate your, unapologetic authenticity that is obviously paying off for you because you are in such a massive season of explosive growth right now. And it's all because you are just unapologetically being authentic about who you are, your journey, your experiences, and you're putting it out there for people so that they can learn lessons. They can learn from, the things that you have been through and take that advice and, maybe skip a couple of steps in their journey and, kind of progress forward quicker than maybe they would have previously without, having your message. So I think that it's a really amazing thing, for especially a male to be so authentic and to be so vulnerable with people. That I think it's incredibly important. So, anybody ever tries to tell you to not be authentic and to not be vulnerable, you need to be like, well, you should go talk to my friend Caitie. She's going to tell you shut up.
Well, I mean, and just look at everything that's happening, as a result of that. And that's the thing is, it was about a year ago where I really just made up my mind that I was done apologizing, for things I don't need to apologize for, just in a macro sense, in an overall life sense, and it's no coincidence that that happened. And then that's when things started to really grow within this ecosystem. It was last spring, when we had Nate Bain from the Tennessee Titans on the show, when we started having more and more of these opportunities to interface with these major brands, with folks like Redfin Real Estate who reach out to us to do a little contributed piece to one of their articles, with folks like Universal Music Group who we started working with. Like, it's because like the focus and intention is there and there's no hiding. There's no hiding anymore. And that's the thing. Like, for the longest time, like when I moved here to Nashville, it's like, I need to be what the industry wants. I need to just listen and do what everyone says the industry needs to do. And I need to work with this person, this person, this person, this person, because they already have the lane. And I just need to find a way to fit in. No, create your lane.
Yeah.
Create your lane. Because if you're just fitting in, you're always going to see those diminishing returns. You're always going to be somebody else's, little brother or sister or second fiddle. Create your lane. That's how you're going to create what you want to create on your terms rather. And that's just something, it's like a switch flipped, last spring, and just, with some life stuff and that kind of thing. So like, I'm done apologizing. I'm done apologizing for wanting to create what I want to create. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing what happens when you just stop apologizing for it.
Right. A really good friend of mine reminded me that I need to stop apologizing for just existing,
Mm-hmm.
for just existing in my own space. And that has been honestly some of the best advice that I've been given in a really long time. And I think it's important for artists and creatives to realize that, you're allowed to be exactly who you are and fuck what the industry thinks. Because truthfully, like, you know, the majority of us don't have the money to throw at it to, to launch ourselves into fame and stardom like, so many artists do. And so why are we trying to conform? You know,
Right.
when really, consumers are looking for something completely unique. They're looking for something different. They're looking for something that isn't already on mainstream, and it's because they're tired of it. They
Mm-hmm.
want to see people that they can actually identify with, and not people that conform to a brand style.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. People are tired of the overly manufactured. Like, I'm taking a photo by the wings. If you're in Nashville, you know what that means. Like doing the same thing as everyone else is just lumping you in
Right.
with everyone else who, is taking that same advice. It's like, I make fun of like the whole first name middle name phenomenon a lot, where it's like everyone's going by their first and middle name. It's like, well, okay, then you're just with everyone else going by their first and middle name. I mean, you think about it, like, and I'm sure there are some examples, we could fact check this, but like, I have a hard time thinking of people who have used that model and like have gotten to like fame and fortune, and like the highest reaches of the music industry. It's always somebody that has something unique, that has a story that, has a brand, but that brand is just them amplified to the nth degree. It's not, oh, I'm going to follow this trend because so and so said I should do it, and I'm going to sound like this now, and it's going to work because it's commercial, and commercial is what works. Not necessarily. What works is authenticity. And that's what's going to get you your enduring fan base who stick with you no matter the sound, no matter the trend, as opposed to people who are just chasing that trend or just chase the current popular trends, right? But that's how you endure. You look at the people who've done it 20, 30, 40 years, their sound hasn't stayed the same, their style hasn't stayed the same. There's always been this reinvention, but there's always been this thread of who they are that drives the bus. And the folks that you consider legends, they're the ones who figure that out and do it. So you've got to be yourself. And it's hard in the beginning, because you're still finding that audience, and you're figuring out who that is, and it's not for everybody. And it might not even be for some people in your own immediate circle. You'll come to find, but there's no faking it. There's no hiding it. And by repressing that, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Gerard, thanks so much for stopping by and doing quick hits with me today. I really appreciate it, and I'm super excited for the launch of your verified creator platform. I think that's going to be incredible for you, and also congrats on year 10 of Quinn Spinn, man. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and it's just getting started. And likewise, right back at you. I have to commend you for the work you're doing here with Paradox Jukebox. It's always an insightful conversation. And you ask great questions, and you have such a dedication to what you do and doing it the right way. And so it's to be commended. And I'm really excited to see the growth of your platform, of the whole Music on the Move ecosystem as well. We throw that word around a lot, ecosystem, but that's what it is. It's multifaceted. There are so many different components. And, especially for women here in Nashville, like y'all are doing such a tremendous job building community and doing it from a place of strength and confidence. And that's what I really appreciate about Music on the Move, about Paradox Jukebox, about everything, that we're all having the opportunity to do together here. So thanks for having me, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So there you have it. That was the episode. We are so excited about the creative agency here at UMC and all of our verified creators. I mean, we have so many talented people to provide their services. If you want to learn more, go to undergroundmusiccollective.com, click the right tile when you get to the homepage. There are tiles now on the homepage. Left one goes to the blog, all the stuff that brought us to the dance, reviews, features, this podcast, what have you. And to the right, you will find the creative agency. You'll be able to learn more about our verified creators and reach out if you want to work with us. So please do that. And of course, this has been the Quinn Spinn, 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. Also on the socials, namely Instagram at Quinn Spinn Official. Learn more about us, of course, at undergroundmusiccollective.com, our central hub for all things independent music, creativity, community, and more. Learn more about UMC on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Follow the UMC 20 playlist on Spotify. 20 fresh tracks every Tuesday, plus the latest episode or episodes of this very podcast. And NashvilleLive.live, if you're listening or watching on release day, we actually have a show tonight at the East Room. That is Natalia Taylor, James Cole, and Forts Lake Vanna. Doors at 7, show at 8, $10 at the door, or you can still get your advance tickets. Make sure you join us tonight. It's going to be a fun pop show here in Nashville on a beautiful spring day, which will surely lead to a beautiful spring night. Anyway, Rebel 9's All I Become. Gonna take us out just like it brought us in, the end instead of the beginning. Grab some muffins on your way out.